Your people have rejected your covenant, torn down your altars, and killed your prophets. I alone am left, and now they seek to take my life.
How long will you people waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. If Baal, follow him. Aneni Adonai Aneni, v'yadu ha'am hazeh, ki ata Adonai ha'Elohim.
Okay, we just arrived here at the airport. We'll be heading in the direction of the airplane, and we'll be meeting Mr. Gregory where he is working. And then we'll be back with you in a minute. We're here with one of the pilots, and we will be right now taking the airplane to meet Mr. Gregory. Some land of Mr. Gregory. How are you, Mr. Gregory? Very good, Pastor, very good. What do you have to say to this person who has never flown in an airplane? And before, you did not have the condition to fly in an airplane yourself, but today you have many airplanes. Pastor, there was a time I did not have $3 to put gas in my car, and I never thought that I would be able to get here one day. But thanks to the campaign of Israel, I was able to get here. And I know we will be getting very far, thanks to God. It's only big things. Yes, Pastor, only big things. I would say you want to be a great entrepreneur of the Universal Church. Yes, this is the goal that I have. Maybe I will never achieve, but I will die trying and believing. This is the airport, as you can see. It's a private airport. And you live here, Mr. Gregory, correct? I live here, and this airport is all basically mine. Exactly. Here's where I can fly day and night to land and do whatever I want. Mr. Gregory, today everything is good. Good afternoon. Today everything is good, Pastor. It wasn't always like that, but today everything is good. Tell us, how was your life before getting to know the Universal Church? A life very sad, very bad that I lived. I had my reason. Family lived in shame, in misery, with sicknesses, problems in the marriage, and also lacked needs and necessities. We had to sleep on the floor, and sometimes we did not even have food or money to even eat. And this is how I lived. And soon after, got married. Then I lost my marriage. My son went to drugs. I was very sick. When I got to the church, I wanted to take away my life. I went to many churches. I went to witch doctors. Thanks to God, I came to the church thinking this was my last resort, seeking for help. And that's how I came to the church, with debts and very destroyed. When you came to the Universal Church, you heard us speaking about the campaign of Israel. What happened in your life when you heard us speaking about that campaign of Israel? Pastor, the week that I got to the Universal Church, only the first week. Yes, exactly. It was my first week when they were speaking about the campaign of Israel. And as they were saying that this campaign is not just for some changes, but for a better life. And for me, everything was new. I just got to the church. For me, everything was new. I just arrived and I did not understand what he was talking about. And I got close to the pastor and I asked. And he said, yes, if you want to change your life, the campaign of Israel is your opportunity. And I asked him, what did I have to do? And he said, sacrifice. And at the time, I did not really know what sacrifice meant. And I was left thinking, what is a sacrifice for me? Pastor, I had so many necessities, so many needs. But I said, how am I going to sacrifice? I said, what I have, I will sacrifice. And it wasn't only that. I started selling chocolates, tamales. I started doing a lot of things to sacrifice to God. And with all of that, I even stopped eating for 2 weeks. I only ate hot water with bread. Hot water with bread when you had nothing to eat, just to generate your sacrifice? Yes, because I made a decision. I said, if God doesn't change my situation in this campaign, it's better to take my life. And also, this God that the pastors speak about is a liar. And so is the pastor a liar as well. But I also wanted to be sincere with myself. I wanted to be secure that I was making the right sacrifice. And that's why I left the last 2 weeks of the sacrifice and I stopped buying things. I stopped buying things for myself. And the only thing I had in my fridge was bread and water. And when I used to go to work, this is what I used to take with me. At times, the bread will get really hard and the water will get hot because of the sun. And it reminded me of a childhood when I had to eat hard bread. But this time, it was because of a purpose, for a change of life. And I did everything I could. And I gave my sacrifice. At that campaign, my sacrifice was $3,200. And it was everything that I had.
Y entregué mi sacrificio y lo que pude conseguir en ese sacrificio fueron $3,200. Fue todo lo que pude conseguir.
For somebody who doesn't have anything, you generated your sacrifice only selling chocolates and tamales, and you generated $3,200.
Con todo lo que ganaba de mi trabajo, lo poquito que tenía ahorrado y lo que vendí, fue todo lo que pude hacer. Y me recuerdo que
yes, that was the maximum I could get, including the little bit that I made at work and what I had saved and what I sold was everything that I could do. And I heard the pastor saying, be careful of the devil stealing your sacrifice. And I used to go to bed hugging my envelope so that the devil wouldn't be able to steal my sacrifice. And the next night I went to bed, I fell asleep, and the next morning I was not the same person. It was as if the old Gregory had died and a new one was born. Nothing changed physically, but my thoughts changed. I forgave my parents, I forgave everyone who I had grudge against. I was a different person, my sicknesses disappeared. I searched and I couldn't find the sicknesses. I was healed in that campaign. My mentality changed, and from there was when I started to fight, when I started to prosper, to move forward. I got a good job, then I bought a house, but I was not conformed. I wanted something bigger. And then came another campaign of Israel. And I told my wife that I wanted to have my own business, my own company, because the company that I worked grew a lot, and we sold our house.
Yo quiero empezar mi propio negocio. Ya me cansé de hacer rico a esta compañía porque esa compañía creció mucho donde yo estaba, mucho. Y vendimos nuestra casa.
You sold the house you had to do the sacrifice. I sold my house, I sold my clothes, I sold everything that I had, the furniture, everything. And we went to live at our apartment. How much was the house in this time today? The house was about $500,000. And all that money you put there in the altar of God. Yes, I made my decision. I did not want to be divided between two opinions.
Una decisión. Yo no quería estar dividido en dos pensamientos. Yo quería estar seguro que yo quería ser empresario.
And the sacrifice. What are your victories of today?
Quais são as vitórias nos dias de hoje?
Pastor, no se las voy a poder decir todo porque no me recuerdo.
Pastor, I won't be able to tell you everything because I don't remember it all, but I will tell you a few. Today I have lots of crops, lots of areas that belong to me. Today I have all the machines that I need in order to work in the crops, work in the fields. I have tractors, I have trucks, I have my own machine to create other machines. I have planes, I have houses, I have lots of employees that work with me. I was able to buy my wife a Mercedes-Benz of $30,000. Money today is no problem for me. And despite of all the talk about the crisis happening here in the United States, I would say no, I'm not going through any crisis. There is no crisis here. I would say when the country's doing bad, I'm doing good. And when the country's doing good, I'm doing better. Overcoming in whatever circumstances.
no sé qué es crisis.
Yes,
Cuando-
when you have God, there's
cuando
no
al país le va
crisis,
mal,
there
a
is
mí me
no
va bien, y
problem.
cuando al país le
Yes,
va
the
bien,
problem
a mí me
is
va
out there,
bien.
but for those who do not know God. And when knowing God, even the problems become opportunity for you. Because during the crisis, a lot of people will get scared and sell their houses. And they will come to me and sell it for very low prices. When people were selling their houses during the crisis, you were buying. Yes, Pastor. They would sell for low prices, so I would buy them. And for some of them, I did not even have to pay. They would even suggest for me to pay them little by little or to pay them whenever I felt like. And I would take everything.
Sí, cuando ellos vendían y vendían a precios baratos, entonces yo compraba. Y muchos de ellos hasta ni tenía que pagarles. Me decían, bueno, después me vas pagando cuando empieces a tener frutos tus huertos. Yo agarraba todo.
How many employees do you have today, directly and also indirectly? More than 2,500 and more.
Mais ou menos, seu Gregório, o senhor paga
And how
para
much would you
empleado
pay
seu
an
que
employee
trabalha
that
para você?
works for you?
Tenemos diferentes sueldos.
There is
Pastor,
different
pero
ranges,
el
Pastor,
que
but the
menos
one that gets the
gana
less
3,000,
makes around $3,000 a month.
Nós outros
We're
estamos
here with
aqui com o
Mr.
seu
Gregory
Gregório
and one
e
of
com
his
o supervisor.
supervisors.
Qual é seu
What
nome?
is your name? Juan
O senhor
Alcaraz.
trabalha
And you
com o
work
seu
for
Gregório.
Mr. Gregory? Yes, Pastor. How many people do you supervise here in this area? Around 650, more or less. And there it is, one of the supervisors. 650, Mr. Gregory. Yes, Pastor. Him and his brother, sometimes more and sometimes less, depending. It ranges from 500 to 600, around these numbers. They're excellent workers.
Son unos excelentes trabajadores.
What is your name? Gerardo. And how many people here in this area do you
Mais ou menos
supervise?
você supervisiona aqui nestas terras?
Sometimes from 700 to 1,000 people.
Hasta 1.000 pessoas.
Sí.
And you take care of all these people? Yes, all of these people. And there it is, Mr. Gregory. It's a lot of people, no? Yes, him and his brother are the ones who supervise a lot of people, and they're very excellent workers.
Excelentes personas, excelentes trabajadores.
And here we have 30 of these trucks for the supervisors to supervise, for them to take care of the land, and for them to take care of all the work that they do around the land.
Tengo por todo aquí en el Valle Central. Los supervisores traen sus camionetas así. Pastor, aquí
And a
hay
lot of
muchos,
places here are
rancheros
losing
que
their
están perdiendo
cultivity that
sus,
exists here.
sus
So what I
cultivos
did
por
here
la
was
causa
to
de la
build a well.
sequía que existe aquí. Y es por eso que yo empecé a hacer pozos de agua para poder sacar el agua de la...
This is the well, no?
Es un pozo.
Yes,
Este
this
año hice
year I
6
made
pozos.
6 wells, and each
Aproximadamente
well
cada pozo
cost
de estos,
around
$850,000.
$850,000. $850,000 of each one of these wells. Yes, each one of these wells are around 16 to 1,800 feet in depth, and they pump around 18 to 2,000 gallons of water per minute. And they are the ones that I'm using in order to take care of my cultivities. I have a lot of water today, and even housekeepers ask me to sell them water, and I sell to them. And what also happens to be that I live close to an old river, and the river only surrounds my land, and only within my terrain are you able to find the water. If you leave this place and head towards the mountains or towards the other housekeepers, they're not able to find the water. It's only within my terrain, and I'm able to use it. It's like the water is centered here within my terrain, and they're not able to access it, and I can.
Están los otros rancheros y aquí ellos no pueden encontrar el agua, como que el agua está concentrada aquí en mis terrenos y yo sí puedo hacer todo eso y ellos no pueden hacerlo.
And I believe I have around 25 to 30 wells, which are around 850,000
cada
each.
uno, el precio de cada uno es aproximadamente $850,000 cada uno.
Como ustedes podem ver aí estas terras.
And as you can see here, the land and this house that he just recently bought. Mr. Gregory, how much did you pay for this house with everything that it has around? With the land and the house itself were around $4 million. For everything that was here, it was $4 million.
Está aquí la casa, esa otra casa que tiene ahí y los tractores.
Yes, included with the tractors and everything else came with the house. And you just bought it recently. Yes, I just recently bought it around 2 to 3 months ago. And the person has a couple of days to leave the place when you bought it. Yes, they asked me if they can stay for a couple days, and I told them they can stay as long as they want, that I don't have hurry. I have somewhere to live. And there it is, my friends. I went to a beautiful house that Mr. Gregory just recently bought for around $4 million.
Acaba de comprar por mais de 4 milhões de dólares. Tem outra casa ali ao lado também.
And there's another house here at the side. Is this house also yours? Yes, it's also included the both houses, the shop, and all of the terrain here as well. It was the only thing that did not belong to me here in this area, but then the owner decided to sell to me. And today you can say you're great within the great.
Los grandes.
Gracias a Dios, pastor. Yo tengo reuniones con empresarios de todo el mundo, de los países.
Yes, Pastor, I have reunions with representatives of developing countries from Dubai, Iran, Iraq, Japan, United States, Mexico, Brazil, and sometimes we have reunions in some private islands. Not just anybody can enter. Meals that are around $2,000, hotels that are around $2 to $3 million a night as well. Tell us some of your sacrifices that you made in order to thank God. Some of my sacrifices were $3,200, $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, $200,000, $500,000, $800,000, $1.2 million. Just like that, I've been always sacrificing. And my goal is always to reach higher, to aim higher. And just like that, I've always been sacrificing. And I believe we should always be doing purposes and always with targets. And if you really want to serve God, that is the way. Why do you want to prosper? What is your target? What is your purpose? Because if your purpose is to serve God, to save souls, or to do the things of God, be very sure that the rain of blessings are going to come in your life, with crisis or without crisis. For us of God, there is no crisis. There is only victory. And if you want to change the history of your country, the history of your life, and in this campaign of Israel, go without fear. Because fear is the main problem that is within every human being. And I'm going to tell you, either you defeat your fear or the fear defeats you. And if you defeat your fear, be certain that you will be the next millionaire of the Universal Church.